Think you're an expert at Donkey Kong 64? Well, I've got a challenge for you. How's it going, everyone? Expert Gamer here. Welcome to the rules video for the Donkey Kong 64 Expert Challenge. This is going to be the first game I will do in a series of expert challenges on this channel. The basic premise of this channel is we take existing video games and add rules to the games to make them much harder so that they're much more of a challenge to play. The idea is that you've beaten the game so many times and you feel like you're an expert at it, and these rules are designed to give you a challenge worthy of an expert. If you want to know more about what this channel is about and the vision behind it, click here. Now let's get into the rules for Donkey Kong 64. Rule number 1. From the start of a new game file, you have 1 hour and 20 minutes to collect 6 golden bananas with each Kong. The golden bananas may only come from Jungle Japes, Angry Aztec, or DK Isles. So, Jungle Japes and Angry Aztec are the first 2 levels in the game, and DK Isles is the overworld. From these areas, you have a time limit to collect 6 golden bananas with each of the 5 Kongs, for a total of 30 bananas. Because you have to use all 5 Kongs, it means you're going to have to unlock all 5 Kongs. This includes Chunky Kong, who you don't unlock until the 3rd level of the game, Frantic Factory. And in order to get there, you're going to have to beat the Jungle Japes and Angry Aztec bosses. The point of this rule is obviously to make the first 2 levels of the game much harder, because they would just be too easy otherwise. And I wanted all the Kongs to be involved in this first part of the game, so that's why I decided 6 golden bananas with each Kong would be the rule. In order to beat this time limit, you're going to have to be very strategic and map out the path you're going to take to collect all the golden bananas you need. Free all the Kongs, buy the guns, instruments, and potions you need, get coins to collect the guns, instruments, and potions you need, get enough colored bananas to fight the bosses. All of this you're going to have to plan out in order to beat this time limit. After you do this section of the game, if you want to verify that you beat the time limit, reset the game and go back to the main menu, go into your file, and it will show you how much game time you've spent on that file. If it's less than 120, you beat it. Now on to rule number 2. You may not collect more than 30 golden bananas from Jungle Japes, Angry Aztec, and DK Isles combined. This is the first of many rules that limits the number of golden bananas you can collect in the game. You have to collect at least 100 golden bananas in order to beat the game, and these rules are going to force you to collect the harder to get golden bananas in order to do that. So, after you collect the 6 golden bananas with each Kong during the beginning time limit of this challenge, you won't be able to collect any more golden bananas from those areas. Alright. Rule number 3. You may only turn in 3 blueprints, and they must be among the first 30 golden bananas you collect. This is another rule that's going to limit how many golden bananas you can get. If you've played this game before, you know that there are these enemies called Kasplats that, when you kill them, they will drop a blueprint. If you take this blueprint to Snide HQ, he will give you a golden banana for it. There is 1 blueprint for each Kong in each level, so this is going to be a lot of golden bananas you will miss out on. So there's actually another reason this rule is hard, and that's because of the last level in the game, Hideout Helm. In this level, you'll have a time limit to shut down a machine that's about to blow up DK Isles, and the time limit you get is equal to 10 minutes plus 1 minute for each blueprint you've turned in. So by only turning in 3 blueprints, you're only going to have 13 minutes to shut down the machine, and that's not going to be easy to do. Rule number 4. You must exit the level, room, or boss you are in if you take damage. This rule essentially leaves you with just 1 HP. If you take any damage, you have to immediately stop what you're doing, exit the level, room, or boss you are in, and come back and try again whatever you are doing. This will certainly make sections of the game where it's easy to take damage a lot harder. It will also make the beginning time limit harder because if you take damage, you'll have to exit the level you're in, and that's going to cost you precious time. I should clarify that when I say taking damage, I mean doing anything to make you lose a melon slice. So if you're playing some kind of mini-game and you hit something and it causes you to lose coins, but not a melon slice, that would not be considered taking damage. You have to lose a melon slice to be taking damage. Rule number 5. You must exit the level if you kill an enemy, excluding bosses or mini-bosses, without using an orange or activating a music pad. This does not apply to minigames. So basically, what this rule means is the main way you're going to be killing enemies is by throwing oranges at them. Oranges are basically bouncy grenades that you throw, and because they're bouncy, they're kind of hard to hit enemies with. This rule will make it harder to kill bees and other flying enemies because normally you could just take out your gun and shoot them. But with this rule, you're going to have to throw an orange at them. Generally, what that means is you're going to have to get up on a ledge and you're going to have to throw bombs at them from the edge in order to kill them. That is going to be very hard to aim, and it will be very easy to run out of oranges in your inventory doing that. The only other acceptable way to kill enemies is when activating a music pad. So if you've played the game before, you know that when you play a musical instrument, it will kill all the enemies in the nearby area. There are also these music pads to where, if you play the appropriate musical instrument while standing on them, it will activate some kind of an effect, such as opening a door. There is no way to avoid killing the enemies in the area when you do this, so I had to make that an acceptable way to kill enemies. Bosses and mini-bosses are excluded from this because it is impossible to kill them using oranges or music pads. There's really only 2 mini-bosses in the game, and those are the Toy Monster in Frantic Factory and the Giant Spider in Fungi Forest. Also, this rule does not apply to minigames such as bonus barrels. If you're unsure if something is a minigame, ask yourself, would taking damage cause me to lose a melon slice? If it does, it's not a minigame. If it doesn't, it is a minigame. Rule number 6. You may not buy any gun upgrades. This rule is going to make the game hard for a few different reasons. First of all, you're not going to be able to buy the ammo belts, which means you're going to be limited to a maximum of 50 ammo in your inventory the entire game. Secondly, you're not going to be able to buy the scope gun, and that's going to prevent you from collecting certain golden bananas in the game that require it, further limiting the number of golden bananas you can collect. Finally, you're not going to be able to use homing ammo, which is actually going to make Hideout Helm harder. So in Hideout Helm, there's a couple of mini-games where you have to shoot enemies. It's actually possible to stock up on homing ammo and go in there and beat those mini-games really easily. But with this rule in place, you won't be able to do that. Rule number 7. You may not collect any golden bananas in Gloomy Galleon, because, let's be honest, no one likes water levels. In all seriousness though, the reason I decided to make this a rule is because I needed to limit the number of golden bananas to collect even more. The reason I decided to eliminate Gloomy Galleon is because the golden bananas aren't particularly hard to collect in the level, and in my opinion, they're not that fun to collect either. Sorry, Gloomy Galleon fans. But the good news is you will get to fight the boss of the level, which is a lot of fun. Alright, we're almost to the end now. Rule number 8. You must defeat each boss after the first 2 within a time limit. And these are the time limits for all the different bosses. Please note that the times for the Wii U Virtual Console version of the game are different for some of the bosses because of the difference in lag between the 2 versions. Because the original game has significant lag while the Wii U version doesn't. So to clarify when your time will start and stop, it will start as soon as your Kong is able to move, and it will stop as soon as your Kong is unable to move at the end of the boss. Also, please note for the final King K. Rool boss, you will pause the timer in between rounds. So you'll start it whenever your Kong can move at the beginning of the round, and you'll stop it when the Kong stops moving at the end. The bosses may be the hardest part of the entire challenge, especially considering that, in addition to the time limit, you also have to exit the boss if you take damage. The bosses will likely take you many tries to beat, but if you're a big fan of the bosses like I am, you will be up to the challenge. Please note that there are not time limits for the first 2 bosses, and the reason for that is those are going on during the beginning time limit for this, and I felt it would be redundant to have a second time limit on top of that for the bosses. Also, you end up fighting both of those bosses again later in the game anyway, in which you will have a time limit. Rule number 9. All cheats must be turned off. On the bonus menu, you can turn on cheats that will give you an infinite amount of the different inventory items in the game. You are not allowed to turn those on, you will have to manage with your limited inventory. And finally, rule number 10. No exploiting glitches. This is a rule that will be common across all challenges on this channel. The purpose of these challenges is to play the games the way they were intended to be played, but make them a lot more difficult. You can't use game-breaking glitches to skip part of the game or make the challenge easier in some way. You're not going to be able to do things like clip into levels without having to have enough golden bananas, or do a moon kick with Donkey Kong that allows you to jump into the sky. Sometimes, it won't be obvious if something is a glitch or not, and as those things come up in my guide videos, I will point them out. But if you have any questions about if something is a glitch, let me know in the comments below and I will try to answer your question. Anyway guys, that's it for the rules for Donkey Kong 64. I will post guide videos for how to beat the challenge every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting today, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments below if you beat the challenge. Also let me know in the comments what games you'd like to see challenges of in the future, because I do take your feedback into consideration. And let me just issue a warning to all you kids out there. Don't try what you see me do at home. I'm what you call an expert.